All right, if you're a parent who's thinking about an international future for your child, then you're in exactly the right place. We're about to dive into something really important: why the secret to unlocking those global opportunities isn't just about high marks. It's actually about something much, much broader. We're talking about a powerful, well-documented student profile. So let's really get into this, right? Here in India, we know the drill. High marks, that's the golden ticket. It opens doors to the best colleges, the best careers, it's everything. But what happens when your kid decides to apply to a university in, say, Canada or the UK? Suddenly, it's a whole new ballgame. The rules you thought you knew, they completely change. All of a sudden, the focus just shifts. Those admissions officers, they're looking for totally different things. Stuff that shows character, commitment, like sports or creative passions. A real dedication to music or maybe the arts, things that show they're a well-rounded person. And this one's huge: leadership. See, all these things that are often just seen as extras in India. Well, in global systems, they're not extra at all. They're core requirements. So what's the name for this whole collection of skills, passions, and all those experiences? Well, it's called the holistic profile. And that is the big idea we are going to unpack together today. Basically, a holistic profile is the story of who your child is outside of their report card. It's the actual proof of their curiosity, their commitment, their creativity. I love this analogy. Think of it like this: if their marks are the visa application, the holistic profile is the passport. And without the passport, let's be honest, you're not going anywhere. And this is where it gets real. Let's talk about the real-world consequences. Take the story of Viraj. He's a really bright CBSE student, moves to Canada. His marks are fantastic. But then they ask him for certificates, for sports, music, clubs, anything. And he had nothing. Not because he didn't do things, but because his school just didn't prioritize documenting them. So what happened? They put him in a basic activity group, and it crushed his confidence. It made it so much harder for him to fit in. This is exactly the kind of situation we're trying to help you avoid. So why does this gap even exist? Well, it all boils down to a really fundamental difference in what the Indian system values versus what the rest of the world is looking for. Let's break that down. Yeah, this lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? It's a tale of two completely different systems. On one hand, you have the Indian system, which is laser-focused on academics, exams, marks, just finishing that syllabus. But then you look at the global system, and they're looking for skills, for real passions, for proof that a student can be independent. They want to see personal growth. And that mismatch, that's what we call the profile gap. Okay, so let's zoom in on kids in the CBSE system for a minute. The most important thing to get here is that the problem isn't a lack of talent. Not at all. The problem is a lack of proof. I mean, think about it. Your child is probably already doing all sorts of incredible things. School assemblies, those house activities, drawing contests, maybe even Olympiads or the annual day performance. These are all super valuable experiences that build real skills. So again, the problem isn't the activity, it's the documentation. And that brings us to this huge perception problem. Because if you don't have the certificates or the photos or notes from teachers to prove these things happened, then to an admissions officer sitting thousands of miles away, it's like it never happened at all. The world just sees no co-curricular exposure, when the truth is there's just no evidence. So what's the fix? How do you bridge this gap? It's all about proactive documentation. You, the parent, have to become the curator of your child's story. It's actually pretty simple. Create a digital portfolio, keep a running skills resume, save every single photo, video, and certificate. And hey, don't be shy about asking a teacher for a quick recommendation note after a big school event. A CBSE kid with this kind of proof, wow, they become a really strong candidate. Okay, let's switch gears for a moment. We're going to talk about the International Baccalaureate, or the IB system, because it handles this in a completely different way. See? The IB system has this massive advantage. Documentation is literally built into the curriculum. You've got CAS logs, that's creativity, activities, service. You've got project portfolios from the PYP and MYP years. You've got personal projects and extended essays. IB students are constantly creating the exact kind of evidence that global admissions officers love to see. The proof is just there. It's created by default. So if you're an IB parent, you're probably breathing a sigh of relief right now. Great, the system does it for me, job done, right? Well, not so fast. There's a really subtle but super important catch you need to know about. And here it is. The key for IB students is depth over breadth. A lot of IB kids end up with this long, long list of activities, but universities aren't just looking for a checklist they've ticked off. No way. They are way more impressed by a student who has stuck with one or two passions for years, rather than someone who's just dabbled in 10 different things. This really says it all, doesn't it? One is greater than 10. One single passion pursued with real depth over 3, 4, 5 years, that shows commitment, it shows resilience, it shows a genuine interest. 10 casual activities, that can just look like you're trying to pad your resume. So for IB parents, the big challenge is making sure that profile tells a story of deep, meaningful engagement. All right, so whether your child is in the CBSE system, the IB system, or anything else, how do you make sure their profile is ready for the world stage? Let's bring it all together now with a final checklist that works for everyone. Here it is, your action plan. Just ask yourself these 6 simple questions. 1. Do you have at least 10 pieces of evidence for every single year? 2. Does the profile clearly point to one long-term passion, not just a bunch of random activities? 3. Is everything organized in a digital portfolio ready to go? 4. And this is crucial, does it highlight leadership? 5. Are you recording community service hours? That's a huge one for many universities. And finally, number 6, does the whole thing tell a story of depth, not just a list? Getting to yes on all of these, that's the goal. Look, at the end of the day, every child has their own unique story. A story of their growth, their talents, their potential. The holistic profile? That's just the tool you use to tell that story to the world. So the real question, the one I want to leave you with, is this. Is their story ready to be told?